This is an open letter for Mr. Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson. Uh, First, I should say that I usually don't watch Fox News, don't listen to Fox, any radio channel or TV channel related to Fox. I just skip over it. Not all the time. The reason I skip over them is because the few minutes that I watch or listen to when maybe I'm at the barber shop or I'm at the pool hall or I'm at the bar, few minutes of Fox News that I get to hear is just so revolting. It's so I should say so common, so that I just move on. I can't stand it more than a few minutes, and that becomes a habit that every time I see Fox, I just turn it off or move or change the channel. So here's the thing, because what it seems to me is like what Fox News does is goes and finds the most. It's what Fox News does in general. It seems to be is that they go and find the most uninformed common man or women, the most uninformed one, and they ask their views of something, and then they take that view and bring it to the studio and broadcast it. Because I mean, most of what Fox News in general, everyone on Fox News is talking about, most of their viewpoints is the most common, uninformed, peasant perspective possible. It's sort of like they have found the lowest common denominator. They have gone and found the most uninformed person and asked their views and questioned them and got all of the information or lack thereof, all that perspective, and they brought it to studio and broadcast it for the whole world to see, to hear, to watch. And this doesn't say much about news station or information distribution center or entertainment or any, and it just doesn't fit. It's you, instead of you trying to make better citizens, you're trying to by providing them correct information and being information, or showing them, teaching them a perspective which is more lenient, more generous, more human, more humanitarian, more generous, more Jesus-like. Instead of doing that, you go the other way around, the other way, or you fall from the other side. You keep advocating to the common folks, to the average man and woman in the street, that yes, you got to be vicious, you got to be, you like Mr. Pompeo's last book says, don't give an inch, fuck them all, just gotta get in there and put it up their ass. And this is Fox News persona, if I have to give it a persona. So that therefore I just don't enjoy it. It's not informative, it's not trying to lead people to a better place. It's just advocating the most uninformed perspective of a common man. It's just trying to pander to common man by giving him his own stupid views. You're not leading the common people, you're following the common people, common perspective in Fox News in general. Now, I have noticed, Mr. Tucker Carlson, the reason I'm making this video or this open letter, open video, whatever you want to call it, is that you are a little moving away from the the high volume of bullshit that comes out of Fox News, you're moving a little away, at least with regards to foreign policy towards Russia, at least with regards to you know specifically foreign policy. Domestic policy, yes, I also agree with you that accepting gay and transgender folks is one thing, but advertising it and giving these folks center stage, and maybe making it making it popular, making gay people and transgender people more popular and more what do you call it? What's the word for it? More. It's a little by little. It seems, especially with the young folks, that are confused about a lot of things because they're not well informed. One of the things that they may get confused about is about their place in the society, including their gender, and making trendy, making homosexuality and transgenderism trendy and fashionable may confuse them. And since they see they get a little more attention if they come out as gay, they get a little more attention from the media, from their people around them. It's a coming out thing. It's sort of like you're being a little, you're at one point, this coming out thing is you become center of attention. Oh, I was, up to now everybody thought I was straight. Now from now on I'm coming out as gay. It's by itself, it does cause a little attention. It does create a situation in which that person becomes a center of attention for a while, or a little more than a while maybe. And for teenagers and for young people, that by itself is a positive, being paid attention to. Now in this case, if they're really gay, or they may see that being gay is so popular and so fashionable that they say, yeah, why not? Let me see. I like the attention that other gays, other people who said they're gay or transgender or blah blah blah, I like that attention. I like to get it too. So my point is this, that in this case I agree with you that okay, accept gay people, they have the same rights, they should be given the same rights as everybody else on the planet. But let's cut back on the popularity and fashionability, and all of that is just, it's misleading the very young people who are confused to begin with about their place in the society, including their gender and their sexuality. So that's not a good idea. Stop this, stop making being gay or transgender as trendy and fashionable, and stop giving it so much attention. So only those who are gay and really are transgender will do their own thing. But then by not giving it too much fuel and too much attention, youngsters who are really not gay or transgender don't see it as a source of attention and are not attracted to, they're not, they don't see it as a way to get more attention by pretending that, okay, I'm gay now pay me a little more attention, or I'm a transgender, now pay me a little more attention. That's not a good idea. So in this case I agree with you, Mr. Carlson. What I don't agree with you is when you talk about China, Mr. Tucker Carlson. First of all, I suggest you take a trip to China. Actually, maybe spend 6 months in China and make your shows in China. I'm sure you can get more than enough guests on your show who speak English. Maybe Chinese, or maybe other foreigners who are doing business there. They're hundreds of thousands of Africans and Asians and South Americans in China doing business, working, doing business, and whatever, and they all speak English. Chinese, a large minority of Chinese speak English quite well. So I'm pretty sure you can do your show from China. The reason I say this is basically you seem to see China as enemy. Now this enemy thing, it seems you folks can't move forward in life unless you find enemies. Now a bunch of the liberals have found Russia as an enemy, and the conservatives have found China as an enemy. It seems none of you folks can move forward in life without pointing your gun at somebody. It's sort of, it's apparently the reason you get up in the morning. Knowing that you have an enemy gives you a reason for you paranoid motherfuckers to get up in the morning, apparently. Here's the thing. So even if you consider China as enemy, why don't you, they say know thy enemy? Okay, fine. Consider them as enemy, but get up and go over there. Get up and go over there and do your shows from, I don't know, Shanghai, Peking, wherever, for 6 months. See, know thy enemies. See how it turns out. See what information can you get from, from the source. For example, this thing that you keep pointing as China as an enemy, and to do that, first of all, you point at their governing structure, and that governing structure is, not democratic. Democracy is your shtick. It's like Christianity is your shtick. It's not necessarily true. It's not necessarily the best form of government, just like Christianity is not the best form of religion, unless you're still, for the sake of your customers, your listeners, you keep pretending that it is. But it's not. It's just one religion, and that's one form of government. It's not the best. It doesn't work for everybody. Maybe at one point in their social evolution it will work for them, but not at. It's not. Democracy is not for everyone at all times. You can't go, for example, in, middle of the Amazon jungle, find a tribe of 55 people and say, from this day you will have democracy. Fuck you. It just doesn't. It's not gonna happen. Or Central Africa or whatever. Or you can't. It just doesn't work. Or you go in between a bunch of a million uneducated fools, and you tell them from today you will have democracy. No, those uneducated fools only understand who has the biggest penis, let's follow him. That's what they understand. If they're uneducated, they're foolish, they're misinformed, low-informed, they follow the man with the biggest penis. They will not understand democracy, and democracy will not work for them. But on the other hand, when you see, when your objection with China, for example, their form of leadership is they have got, 5 or 9 in their leadership council. These are intellectuals who speak multiple languages, who most of them have a couple of PhDs. They know their shit. They surround themselves with people who know their shit. You're telling me that form of government, in which people who know a lot of shit surround themselves with people who know a lot more detailed shit, specific shit, you're telling me that form of government is bad, and a form of government in which the leader could be, yesterday could have been a baseball manager, today becomes the leader of 350 million people. He cannot put sentence together. This form of government is better Fuck you. What are you talking about? Half of your most of your leaders in the last 50 years were not there. Forget about intellectual. They didn't have even average intellect. And they choose people, the people they surround themselves with is Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney was a lineman. You know, a guy who hangs high voltage wires until his wife kicked him out of the house and told him go get a better paying job. So he became a vice president of the United States because it pays better, through Halliburton, of course. You're telling me this system in which an actor, a B-movie actor who can memorize scripts well, therefore who can memorize speeches well, becomes a president because he can act well. He can act in a way that is, you know, charming to the common man, and therefore grab votes in that way. He is the leader of 350 million people. He becomes a leader of 350 million, although he doesn't have the clue what the fuck he's talking about half the time, because he's regurgitating a speech he memorized. All Ronald Reagan's speeches were memorized scripts. So you're telling me a system in which the top leadership are informed, well informed, and they don't allow the capitalist, not capitalists, they don't allow the commercial people, the people in commerce, to rule over them. These intellectuals rule over the people involved in commerce, just like they, you know, that Alibaba guy was talking too much. They pulled his pants down. That's the right thing to do. You want your leaders to rule over rich and poor. Not just over poor. Your system is, you know, you got, you know, once in a while you just pull a rabbit out of the hat. Who knows, the next president might be a, you know, Chippendale dancer. The next president might be a, you know, a garage owner. The next president might be a, you know, who knows, a baseball player, a shoemaker. I'm sorry, leadership of such a vast empire, if you give it to every schmuck that walks to the door and is charming, you have Jeffrey Epstein's leading your schmucks by the collar, or by the leash, I should say. Here's the thing, folks. Mr. Tucker Carlson. That's about the leadership. I think a leadership in which is made up of a group of intellectuals who surround themselves with intellectuals. It's all this brain power. Is much better than a system in which, you know, the next leader may be a shoemaker, just because he's a charming shoemaker. Anyway, that aside, your other objections to objection to China, supposedly, you know, we gotta have an enemy. Your other objection to China is the fact that you say these you throw out these numbers with regards to pollution, for example. You say, why is it that China is building 2 coal-fired power plants a month, a week, whatever, and why is it they are not told to cut back on pollution and we are, you know, in the Western Hemisphere in general and in the United States in specific? And you're thinking, why is it? Why is it that way? It's unfair. There is some hanky-panky going on behind the scenes. The Chinese are being led to pollute at this rate. Now, I don't know where you got your statistics. I'm not sure if that is correct or not, about 2 coal-powered power plants per week. But let's assume you're right. Let's assume. And you're telling us, you're telling your viewers, sort of like, now I should say that with the recent information that has come out with your messaging, it's clear that you guys understand that the bullshit you're spreading is, you know, is a common misbelief of a common man who doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground, and you don't believe in the bullshit you're spreading. Anyway, it's just the bullshit is paying the bills. Apparently paying the bills is going to send us to nuclear war one of these days. Anyway, the point is this, that you keep telling your people that, you know, the same thing that a common man takes out, that hey, they're polluting so much, and we are being told that you should stop consuming and you should stop polluting. And that's unfair. That's something is wrong there. Well, the reality is what you're omitting, which the common man doesn't know, that schmuck that you're trying to use as common denominator, and you're giving back whatever he believes in. That schmuck doesn't know, and you know, but you decide to omit, is that it's pollution per capita. It's consumption per capita. Now, this means that you, as an informer, as an anchor, as a person who's dispersing information, you're the one who's supposed to tell the people, inform them, lead them, and tell them that no, you're thinking wrong, and this is per capita, and it's this, and this. Therefore, we don't have an enemy in China. But you don't do that. You regurgitate whatever the fuck that common schmuck thinks. You regurgitate that towards him to pay the bills. Here's the thing. The thing about pollution is it's like GDP. It's like anything else, any other statistics. If you're not qualifying it in some way, it doesn't mean anything. 100 million people die every year. Okay, where? Of how many? By what cause? These are all qualifiers of the 100 million people who die every year. Those qualifiers is what determines what makes the 100 million make sense. When you say pollution, and why is China is allowed to pollute more than us, is given a green light in polluting, to pollute more than us, that has a qualifier. It says, yes, China is building 2 coal-fired plants per week, supposedly, but they're giving a green light to pollute because based on their population and based on our pollution, based on our population divided by our population, and their pollution, their volume of pollution divided by their population, their number is so low and our number is so high that we have to try to pollute less, but they can still pollute more. They shouldn't, but if they don't have any other option, they can be given the right to pollute more because their pollution per capita, the volume of their pollution per capita is so much lower than us. This is simple. Per capita, it's a very simple fact. It's a simple matter. Or consumption. Again, you say our consumption per capita is so much higher than, let's say, India's consumption per capita, per person, i.e. total volume of consumption divided by total number of people within that territory, gives you consumption per capita, in that case gives you pollution per capita. You keep omitting the per capita part because, you know, you're trying to make yourself pretend you're blind so the blind people can follow you. You're pretending to be blind so blind people would follow you. Blind people, the uneducated people, the common folks don't understand that this per capita thing qualifies the matter. And you act like a mirror, you don't correct them, you don't give them correct information. No, China is allowed to pollute more because per capita, as it is right now, they're polluting so little as compared to United States pollution per capita that they are allowed to pollute more. And United States is being asked by the rest of the planet to pollute less. End of story. There was this thing in, and as a proof of it, there was this article where a lot of people know about it, read it, that basically said if everybody, all the people on this planet want to consume as much as, North Americans do, you need 9 Earth-sized planets resources to be able to, have the rest of the population of humans on this planet consume as much as North Americans do. So if everybody is allowed to consume, is given the right to consume, it can consume as much as North American people do, you need 9 Earth-sized planets. 9 or 5, I'm not sure what was the number. Anyway, we only have one. Whether it was 9 or 5 doesn't make any difference because we only have one. So what does that tell you? That tells you that with 5% of the population of the planet living in the United States and 25%, and the consumption of North Americans is 25% of the resources of the planet. This is a well-known fact. 5% of the population is using 25% of resources. So if everybody wants to use as much resources, you need 9 planets. You're not telling this to your viewers. So what the world, the planet, the other human beings are asking North Americans is, well, you should try to consume less, you should try to pollute less, and we have the right to pollute more. Hopefully maybe not as much as you pollute, maybe in North America, hopefully maybe not consume as much as you consume in North America, but we also want to have some kind of quality life. So with your permission, we are going to pollute more and consume a little more because we also want to have a quality life, but we try not to pollute and consume as much as you do in North America. But you still have to consume and pollute less in North America because you only have 5% of population. So yeah, per capita, China's pollution per capita is way less than you. Therefore, they are given the right to, if they have to, they build 2 coal-fired power plants every week. But at the same time, they also are producing the biggest solar farms on this planet. They're doing their best not to, try not to pollute as much as you do per capita in North America, but still they need more energy to develop. But also they're doing their best to erect as much solar farms as they can. The point is this. Another example, you brought a woman from Netherlands, Holland, and she was, a representative of the Netherlands farmers, and you brought she aboard because she was, also was on board with you with regards to pollution and what the fuck is this, and we should be let to pollute as much as we want. Same problem. Her also, for people in Netherlands, usually they're well informed. They're pissed off right now, but usually they're well informed. But she also pretended that she doesn't understand per capita this per capita business. So she said, her point of view was, we have such a small population. What the fuck? Why are they telling our farmers to stop farming and our dairy farms to close shop? We have such a small population. How much pollution can we be producing? Why is this? We're not going to stand for this. Blah 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 blah. We have a small population. Why is it? Why they're bothering us? Why they're bothering our dairy farmers? Well, because based on pollution per capita, it really doesn't matter how small your population is. If your pollution per capita is too high, well, the rest of the people on this planet expects you to bring down your pollution per capita. Yes, Netherlands has a small population, therefore it gets a small allotment in how much they can pollute. And since their cows are, their excrements and their business, and they're all keeping up with them, and all of that, their keep up and all whatever, produces a lot of greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide and nitrogen and other things. They're being asked, and we know that Netherlands has a history of being, capital of cheese. You got Wisconsin. Europe has Netherlands. It's very well known for high cheese production. And where does that cheese come from? From the milk. Where does the milk come from? From so many dairy farms that they have in that small population in such a small country, have so many dairy farms that European Union has agreed with to control pollution. Therefore is telling Netherlands that your per capita pollution, based on the number of cows you have, based on the number of peoples you have so many cows and so many people, these cows are producing so much pollution that if you divide that pollution to the number of your people, you bicycling all over town is not making up for the pollution. You have to cut down on the number of your dairy cows. Per capita. The key word here is you're omitting per capita, and the common man just doesn't understand, doesn't know, doesn't get it, doesn't understand. This doesn't go there. Your job, Mr. Tucker Carlson, is to take him there. Put his hand, the common man's hand, in the hand of logic. Make sure the common man understand logic, understand there's a per capita aspect here, that based on that per capita, they're saying that all human beings on this planet should, if they're polluting, should be at least, polluting equally. So those who are polluting more per capita should reduce their pollution, and those who are polluting less per capita, much less per capita, are maybe giving a little more leeway to pollute a little more than they are right now, so they can develop and maybe, bring the standard of living higher in their territories. That's all. But, I guess if you say that, a lot of common folks are going to change the channel because maybe they don't understand it. Maybe that's, the kind of logic that they can't they can't understand in their gut. Like Mr. George W. Bush said, his logic comes from his gut. Yeah, Mr. Tucker Carlson. I don't listen to Fox News at all, but I've listened to a few pieces from you. You make some sense, maybe with regards to stop this war with Russia and blah blah blah, and this, let's stop being gay and transgender as fashionable, to stop making it a fashion statement. It's a sexuality thing, and let's keep it, let's respect them. Let's, we don't need to, hang them. They have all the rights that everybody else has, but let's stop making it fashionable to be gay. It's just not good for the youngsters. Let's not pay so much attention, because that's that to gay and being gay and transgenders, because that attention itself may convince a lot of youngsters that they want more attention, so they may declare that they're gay or transgender just because they see all the attention that the gays and transgenders are getting right now. These I understand. Your ideas about stop the war with Russia, Russia's security, Russia's paranoia needs to be respected, and there should be a buffer zone between Russia and the Western Europe, Europe, the buffer zone, so both sides feel comfortable. A neutral zone without war. That I understand, Mr. Tucker Carlson, but stop picking a war with China, because both of these folks are nuclear powers, and demonizing the Chinese as you're doing by omitting, for example, this per capita thing, which is just a simple thing. It's a qualifying factor that makes the whole pollution idea make sense of the pollution and consumption. If you just make your viewers understand that everything works by a qualifier. Any number needs a qualifier. If you say GDP, if you say pollution, if you say consumption, it's all based on per capita. That's how it makes sense. You have to teach your viewers. Most of your viewers don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. Repeating the stupid things that they believe, to them, you're not solving any problem. You're making it worse. Because if I believe some bullshit and somebody else comes and repeats the bullshit to me, I become convinced that the bullshit I believe must be the truth, because somebody else on TV is telling me the same. That must stop. China is not an enemy. The only thing China is guilty of is working hard and having a good, peaceful economy, good, peaceful leadership. That's the only thing China is guilty of. China hasn't invaded any country in my lifetime. Chinese have been working hard all over the world and in China. They're not known for being invaders, being colonizers, slaughtering people, committing genocide. You're making up about the Urga. You're making it up. That's also being made up about Urga genocide. Bullshit. There are a bunch of people in Inner Asia. There are a bunch of Chinese in North, West, Central Asia, who, because of their religion and the difficulty traveling to and from there, and since the Silk Road was closed down a century ago, more than a century ago, these people have been cut off from the rest of the world. They live inland. The Silk Road was closed down, and getting there and from there is very difficult. So they have been like a landlocked nation. Landlocked nations remain backwards, remain in time, remain in place in time. They don't change much, people who are landlocked. Like, the most backward countries in the world are all landlocked, like Afghanistan, like Mongolia. because of being landlocked, not having too much exchange with the outside world, specifically because they don't have access to warm waters, makes the population stay in place. Their culture becomes very rigid and stays in time from back when, doesn't change much. And people, the Turks of northwest China, who happen to be also Muslim, that's another reason that they have a different religion than the rest of China. That's another reason that they have been secluded. They have been sequestered from the rest of China. They haven't intermingled too much with the rest of China because of their location, because they have a different religion, and because of getting there and back is difficult. Difficult transportation, long and difficult. So these people are backwards, like people of Afghanistan. And what you do? Well, two things you can do. Like what you did, you can go in and bomb them and then land with your parachute and kill a bunch of them and trying to bring them to 21st century by the force of your rifles. Or like China, you can do what China did. You can erect some education camps for them. You can send your main population into their homes, trying to bring them up to date, teach them new things, make them up to date. And yes, if you need to, if there are work camps, yes, work, education goes hand in hand. These people were not, this wasn't industrialized part of China. These people are uneducated, not familiar with too much industries, backwards. So the Chinese went in without bombs. They didn't parachute in with, with rifles and killed half of them. No, they went in, put up education camp, put up industrial sites for production, education, production, and sending their people to, go into their society and trying to mix and match, and so they can, after a while, so they can be the same as the rest of China. Same in terms of civility and education and world perspective and tradition and, norms of life. And I think they're doing an excellent job. It's bullshit that you guys have come up with the Urga genocide. First they said genocide. Well, it didn't pan out well because it wasn't, a couple of people died here and a couple of people died there. Doesn't qualify as genocide. Then after saying genocide, after they couldn't, they couldn't round the square, they came up with cultural genocide. Urga is cultural genocide by China. You're grasping at this point, my pink-skinned friends. Is it genocide or is it cultural genocide? Make up your mind. If you can't come up with proof of one, you move to the second. Oh, cultural genocide. You can call anything cultural genocide. If the culture changes, it changes. It's not genocide. Fuck you, BBC. Anyway, Mr. Tucker Carlson, per capita, please qualify your information so the schmucks who listen to you are enlightened. Even if, stock price comes down, at least they're enlightened. Somebody is showing them enlightening them. Just don't be a mirror, Mr. Tucker Carlson. Your job is not to be a mirror. Your job is to lead, to enlighten.